Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about a common VTP issue, or at least one that a common one you should be aware of. Okay, so what happens when we add a client or server switch to a VTP domain with a higher revision number? So let's take a look. Here we have switch A. Okay, it's a server. It's in VTP domain West. Has configuration revision number 10 and has several VLANs. What happens if we add another switch, okay, also in the same domain? And in this case, it's a client, but it could be a server. Notice, even as a client, has a higher configuration revision number, okay, and different VLAN information. Okay, what would happen is this, okay, the client enters the VTP domain will actually override with the VTP messages that on the server. So notice that on switch A, the configuration revision number is lower than that on a client, and it will actually synchronize itself, change not just the configuration revision number to match that of the client, but also will synchronize its VLAN information. In this case, we've removed a lot of VLANs. This is one of the reasons why you do want a domain name, but you also want a password. So somebody just doesn't add a switch to your network and override a bunch of VLAN information. All right, so how would you actually add a new switch to the network? How can we make sure that any client or server switch that we add does not mess up our network, does not change, override VLAN information on all of our other switches? Okay, so before adding a switch to the network, there's one of two things you can do. Let's take a look at switch C. Switch C we're going to add to the network, and it just so happens to already be configured in client mode, but a configuration revision number is 16. Maybe it's an old switch that's been sitting on the shelf and just nobody bothered to reset the VTP information. So we're going to do that right now. One of two ways we can do that. One way is to change the VTP switch from client mode to transparent mode. Okay, so we set it to transparent mode. That sets the configuration revision number to 0. Okay. Now we can change it back to client mode. So what we want to do here is make sure that the switch has a configuration revision number of 0 before we introduce it to our network and our VTP domain that we're using. Okay. All right, then we make sure we have the right VTP domain name and password. Okay, in this case, we already do. And now switch C with the lower configuration revision number will synchronize itself with the information sent by a VTP server, update its configuration revision number to match, and its VLAN information. This is what we want to see. Another way we can do the same thing is by changing the domain name on the switch. So here it's already VTP domain name. Again, we haven't added this to the network yet. Maybe we just took this off a rack in our lab or been sitting on a shelf. So what we're going to do here to make sure that the configuration revision number is 0, we're going to change the domain name from west to east and then back. And then that will set, but when we change the domain name, that will change the configuration revision number to 0, reset it to 0. Now we can put it back to the domain name of our domain. Okay? And we should also have a password, same password. All right, we connect that switch to our network, and switch C, the client switch, will synchronize itself with the VTP server, update both its configuration revision number and its VLAN information. Right. All right, hope this explained a common VTP issue and how to make sure that we don't put ourselves in that situation. All right, thank you.